Wednesday. It's Roctober. Happy Roctober, everybody. We have swung straight through September, specimen timber, right into Roctober. How did that happen? That happened fast. So hello, Lava, Chubby Hubby, Ryan, Romania, Karen. Rufo was here a minute ago. We were talking about the cadmium glass that I found. Jennifer's here. Hello, Jennifer. Brian. Thinking about Brian and Julie and theirs today. Sorry about that. I'm doing organization. And in the midst of doing the organization, things are a little bit unorganized. So it does feel better, though. It feels good to kind of organize things a little bit. This is an issue. It's about to start getting cold and I cannot have things on the fireplace anymore. It's nice to set things there in the summertime, but it's time to clean it off. And so I've been working on that. You sit up straight. That or put my camera down. And I was cutting on a rock that I got from Jeff over at the Creators Dig. So I'll go grab the couple of pieces of that. Yeah, thank you, Brian. I actually did forget to do that on my own videos. So thank you for the reminder to do the hearts and the things and the thumbs up and the stuff. Yeah, definitely do not put spray paint cans on the fireplace. As obvious as it seems to clear the things off of it before you start a fire, my kids didn't. Opal guy is here. Good to see you. Did I say hi, Romania? I'm pretty sure I did, but just in case I didn't. I pushed the button in a haste and I don't have my coffee or the rocks. So let me get some of that stuff. Also, don't have stacks of newspaper by the fireplace. Probably especially don't have stacks of oil-soaked newspaper by the fireplace. Who would do such a thing? Yeah, all the stuff and all the things. That's it, Brian, yeah. Yeah, I got my coffee. I just left it over there. Yeah, so it's been busy over here. Trying to get organized. I felt bad for my kid that one day because there was, if you'll remember right, like a great big box table thing that ran along the back of the couch and a desk back there, and I've gotten rid of both. And now it's a box of rocks and like much better desk for holding my saw and stuff. And my flat lap's on that little table right there, so I can pull it out and use it when I need to. And I know what is organized. Exactly, Julie. So literally when I ended my live Wednesday last week, Rufo went live right after. I put Rufo on top of the saw. The saw was closed. I put the tablet up there and I lurked and listened and watched Rufo's show while I tore this living room apart. Absolutely gutted it. And then my kid came home from school and I was like, help me move the furniture around. Because you know, if no one's here to help me, you know I'll do it myself and I'll probably hurt myself. And so, but then I felt bad. I felt really bad. Like I knew immediately I wanted to get rid of the big shelf in here. It is nice to have that space, but it's an awkward height and it's a catch-all underneath. Like I was just piling things underneath of it. And I was like, you know what? I want an outside rock box. It's time to have an outside rock box. I put rocks all over the banister, the rail of the porch, and on the steps and things, you know, I put them everywhere. There's a rock spot out by the tree. I put rocks there too. I usually am organized chaos. I usually am. And I usually know like where everything is amongst all of that. But it is nice to, when I'm ready to sit down and do a project, to kind of have a clean space to do it. And to not have things that I want to someday work on mixed up with things that I want to probably get rid of. Hi, Patrick. Welcome. See you sneaking in there. So I took the big shelf was originally, when I first moved in, I used it as a wood box. Hi, Meg. And used to stack my firewood in it, which keeps all the junk kind of from getting in the house and on the floor. It's not perfect solution, but it helps a little bit. And I've always in the summer tipped it over and used it as like a plant and, you know, junk collect all. And in the winter, I've turned it back over and used it for firewood. For the past few years, though, I've always used it as a table for my saw and my flat lap. And so I was like, it's time to do this a little differently. Like it's not a real piece of furniture. That's not really what it was made for. It's literally some 2x4s and some plywood that's been painted. It's time to like be a real grown up and buy a real desk or a real shelf, or instead of just making do with what I have. So I took it outside. I want to start a rock box outside where stuff that I'm a little less excited about getting to can kind of store out there, which has been really nice because I've come across a lot of stuff that I actually forgot that I have. Growing up is highly overrated. I agree, Brian. I agree, but it's time to stop just using the furniture that's available and get something that's actually functional. I am really on tight space, so I really need to use it in the smartest way that I can. I refuse to adult for a great number of things, says Lava, and Machine says, must have coffee. Cheers to that. Mm-hmm. Exactly, Julie. Yeah, so I mean, it's funny because I have like whole little like stashes of like, these are grade A rocks. And I'm like, oh, wow, I kind of like, I forgot that I had that box. Like, and so it's actually really nice to get it out from underneath the catch-all, unbury it, you know, and go through it. You guys are going to be so proud of me. I have rocks for disposal. These rocks are going to go in a hole in my alley. And get this, not just one, but two that I'm kicking to the curb. That's right. That's right. I don't need those rocks. They don't need me. I know, that's amazing, isn't it? But look at all the room I'm going to make myself and how much less of that I don't have to look through those to find the nice ones. The nice ones are there. They're all together. So, yeah, consolidating and organizing just a little bit. It's still in the midst of. It still is like there's a box of rocks there. There's a couple things sitting on the stove that I've still got to get to, you know. But I have literally just, that's all I've really done all week is empty the drawers of that desk into some baskets and things that are more practical and, you know, that kind of thing. Hi, Mandy. Welcome. And make myself a nice zen place to do some work. Hi, Cynthia. So good to high grade from time to time. Agree, Cynthia. And I came across a bunch of stuff that, like, I have, come on, what's the name of it? I don't like the way it feels. Graveyard. I have some graveyard agate. I don't like the way it feels. Hi, Bear. It's got a textural thing to it. It's grabby. It's even more grabby than a microfiber cloth, in my opinion. Like, it grabs me and I just dislike it. It's a beautiful agate, but I don't want to work with it. I don't want to touch it. It freaks me out. It freaks my sensories out. And I can't. It's just freaking my fingers out just thinking about it. So Yeah, I know that. I know that, Bear. I know that very much. And I'm not really up for like just a loose rocks box. I'm thinking just a couple of totes that are stacked neatly inside the box so that it's not just a total free for all for the creepy crawlies and the leaves and the things like that. So dead moths and things like that. So my neighbors don't like rocks. There's something wrong with your neighbors. Sorry, I don't usually just so boldly proclaim that everybody likes rocks. $10 says your neighbor wears a diamond wedding ring. $10 says it's diamond and gold. What is a diamond not a rock? Sorry, but it is. So your neighbors don't like rocks, my behind. They just don't like rocks, maybe. But I bet you they like rocks. I bet they like opals and diamonds and birthstones and... Oh. Did I really, Ma? That's interesting. Should I tell her to play some fancy music for you or something? I won't, because this one will listen to me. And then we'll be interrupted. So, yeah, it's been really nice to not just my rocks, but my tools too, right? Like I had 2 drawers in that desk that had Dremel parts in them. The lower drawer and the upper, and a drawer just above that had, bits and attachments and things. They're in one basket. Now, if you want to do Dremel things, you can just pull that basket out, set it at one of these clean places that hopefully stay a little bit clean, and sit down and do something with it, right? And it has a place to go when you're done. It goes back in the basket. It's had a place to go too, back in the drawer of the desk, but usually the bits and pieces were kind of here, there, and everywhere. So it's nice to get all of the different tools and parts and things like that also a little bit organized. Flashlights, UV lights, headlamps. Yes, happy Roctober, Cynthia, and happy Roctober to everybody who's here today. Roctober is officially here. I feel like a kid before Christmas almost. And I sat here and thought to myself, like, why? Why would you be excited that winter is coming? Why would you feel almost like a kid before Christmas if it's Roctober? I mean, that really just means that the cold and the bitter, crappy, windy, shitty weather's coming. But I feel a little bit like that because I know that a lot of people are going to be doing some studio time here real soon. And I'm excited to see what comes of that. So it's bittersweet. Yeah, dude, it drives me insane. Be sure to check on your rock counting friends when the weather gets bad and make sure that they're doing okay. Like it screws me up for the first little while to not be able to go out and walk and get fresh air and stretch my legs. And like it really, really does. Like the short daylight hours really mess me up a little bit. The cold definitely messes me up. Not gonna lie about that. But there is that bitter tone to it where not being able to get out and rock hound really sucks, the big one, and is depressing and physically exhausting. Believe it or not, it's exhausting to me to not be able to get out and go rock hounding. I just want to sleep all day when I can't get out and move around, So there's that bitter part of it, but there's also that sweet part of it that I look forward to. That is that everybody is going to be inside studioing and creating and all of that. So I do kind of look forward to that part of it. And even my own, not just what everybody else is coming up with, but my own, taking the time to sit down with the flat lap and the things going on. That's awesome, Rufo. I honestly have thought about putting on our local Facebook page that I'm down at the Spark Park. I believe there's power down there, and there are a few rock hounds in town, and I think it'd just be kind of cool just to take my 6-inch down to the park and say, you know, bring a rock or two, come on down. Bring a rock or two, come on down, I'll cut it for you. I'm at the Spark Park for the next couple hours. And then just take like a small assortment of, you know, rocks and jewelry with me. And if they, you know, want to look at some of that stuff while we cut their rock or visit, we could do, you know, I've thought about doing something like that. Like, don't even have to be a rock club. Like, bring a rock, come on down. But like, I have so much extra time to just sit at the park and wait for people to show up with rocks. So, but again, maybe this winter that could be something I do, is have a couple of, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 rock hounds over throughout the winter and let them give all the equipment a try. There's nothing like giving a little equipment a try to make, you know, make you, what is, Manny's got a good acronym for it. What's he call it? Like, he's got an acronym like FIRE or something, and it's like equipment obtaining syndrome or something. Anyway, it's a real good way to get somebody, you know, into flat lapping, wire wrapping. That's a tongue twister. Holy cow. So, opal guy. Oh, bump. Cheers. I did say that, didn't I? You boys are so immature. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, so I've been cleaning house. I've been cleaning house equipment-wise, rock-wise, and prepping up for winter. I want to know what you guys are doing for Roctober. Machine acquisition syndrome. Yes, that is what he says. Yes. You know, what's everybody got in mind, in store for? You know, is everybody kind of still in fall mode? Is everybody still out, you know, trying to eke in the last little bit of, you know, hounding and that kind of thing? Or are you doing that, like, I don't know why they call it spring cleaning. I never want to clean in the spring. I'm like, so if what, like, let's go rock hounding instead. But when fall comes, oh boy, I'm like, yeah, we got to clean this place up because we're about to get locked in, and and no one can even move around in here. And if you set something down, it disappears. So so yeah, I kind of want to throw that out there and you know, see what everybody's kind of feeling like right now as we enter Roctober, as we leave specimen timber and enter Roctober. Brian and Julie are doing a little, what's your second channel's name? Remind me again. The Rolling Rocks or something like that? I can't remember. Rockin' it. So Brian and Julie are doing a little more of that over on their channel, where they're going to head on up through Washington and catch up with some peeps along the way. And Machine moves some vehicles around and is going to work on some videos. I clean in the spring and the summer, in the fall and in the winter. Same, Romania, but I kind of feel like I need to do it a little more before winter comes so that we don't lose our minds in here. The Traveling Stones. So that's what they're going to do, is the Traveling Stones from, you know, their home there in AZ all the way on up to Washington and back. And Bear's prepping for hibernation, he said. No, that's not what he said. I put words in his mouth. So I apologize for doing that, Bear, but it was funny. We got tons of work this summer. I barely got out. Did get out some, yeah. I just got 3 machines for working rock. Way to go, Patrick. You're ready for the big weather lockdown. B plus like general cleaning. Oh goodness. Yeah, tell us what you got, Patrick. See, that's why I wanted to open this up. Like, let's know what everybody, like, I want to know. Yeah, do that, Bear, for sure. Let us chatter it up in the background while you're, like I say, whatever it is you're doing, playing with rocks, folding your laundry, washing your dishes, whatever it is. Ah, awesome. You should definitely go. They have a sale machine in the end of October for a Roctober sale where everything is significantly discounted. Awesome, Rufo. Yeah, it's supposed to actually start freezing at night this weekend. Like 32, you know, yeah. It's just pushing it, and it doesn't look like it warms up at night anytime in the near future after that. He got a 2-wheel Cabber Arbor, a Richardson's Ranch high-speed sander, and a 2-wheel vertical flat lap. Hells to the yeah. It is, but just at night. It's still nice in the daytime, just at night. So it's time to start covering things in your garden or harvesting things in your garden. It's time to move your plants in if you're going to move them in. Time to wrap up the hoses and you know, shut off the outside water. All of the winterizing that it's time to do. Did you? Yeah. That's not very funny. It's kind of, I think it might have kind of rolled this way a little bit, Karen. It's pretty cloudy over here today. It's not terribly cold, but it is a little cloudy. I do have rocks we'll look at today. Like I say, I want to say happy Roctober to everybody and see how everybody's Roctober is rolling in after specimen timber. How is your Roctober rolling in? Down to 31 on Sunday here. Yeah, not very fun. Yeah, excited to see what Patrick comes up with. Excuse me. Made a funny little noise in my cup. So, yeah, right? See, and I found a little bit of stuff like that too, like stuff that I could definitely part with. And it's just stuff that I know I'm not going to get around to. Like I say, that I dislike it so very much. It's beautiful stuff and somebody should have it, but I can't do the graveyard. The texture of the graveyard, it grabs me and I dislike it. Or, you know, here's a little thunder egg that I cut in half that somebody should polish that bad boy up. I won't. It's just a little too big for my flat lap, and it kind of not the right texture for, you know, tumbling. So I was looking for a spritzer, but you get it. It's cute. Somebody should do something with that. So I found like lots of stuff when I was going through my stuff, which is good, you know. The impending doom. Yeah, but like I say, also the excitement of, you know, doing some makers, you know, creators things together. The Makers Challenge, the Heart for Rocks. You know, just makers bunches with Karen and everybody, you know, studio time in Discord, you know, whatever. So I was laughing at Meg's comment there. I'm probably banking on the mild winter too much, but Yeah, it is coming. And then like Karen says, we're all feeling that impending doom. Yeah, but yes, very much so. Like, also, it is like slightly anxiety inducing to realize that we are about to be locked in, you know, like no more rock walks, you know, no more getting out and the fresh air and the exercise. And like I say, it really does kick my arse to sit day after day after day after day and not get out and walk 10 miles, you know what I mean? So it physically takes a toll on me. Not just the cold really like really sucks, but and is exhausting, you know. It's a battle just to keep the pipes from not freezing and to keep the fire burning and to keep the driveway cleared and the truck plugged in. And I mean, it's exhausting, but I do look forward to that, you know, huddled around a mug and seeing like, ooh, look what so and so just did, or oh my gosh, you know, Ma just put a cab inside a cab. Is my brain just like, you know? So we're all freaking out, man, because the schnozberries taste like schnozberries. So yeah, that whole getting stuck inside, it does wig me out, and I felt like we needed as much room in here as we could possibly have so we don't get smushed. Yeah, well, lucky you, machine. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really, like I say, I'm really trying to get down to the Gem and Mineral show this year. How long I can stay, you know, I'd like to stay for a minute and like meet some people and do some things while I'm down there, you know, get some footage, interview some people, talk to some people, you know, do some stuff while I'm down there. Um, but I worry, like, is my kid mature enough to keep the fire burning and keep it warm enough in here if that the pipes don't freeze, you know? Is he man enough to, you know, get in and out if there's a big snow and, you know, his car won't start or he's stuck in the, you know. So I worry about leaving my kid here alone if I go. You know, he's a big kid now. He's a senior this year, but still it can get darn harsh up here, and I hate to leave him for too long fending for himself. I almost hope that my oldest one will stick around a little bit. He's working for his old boss here already. He just came straight home, dropped his duffel bag from Alaska on the floor and was like, "When do I show up for work?" Back to work for, hey there, Josh, back to work for his boss here in town doing construction work. So and then speaking of construction and stuff, a while ago, I'm gonna grab a spray bottle too while I say this so we can look at Jeff's rock. A while ago, when my brother was up here visiting, the city guys stopped and said, "Oh, we might have to dig up your Caragandus here." And I was like, no. The Caragandus is the only thing that keeps like the neighbor's dogs from seeing me every time I come in and out my back door and keeps them from barking at me while I'm in my yard. Please don't take my Caraganda. It's my privacy fence. You know what I mean? Like, and the Caragandus do wrap all the way around the outside of my yard, and it's very private. I love it. So when he's like, "Oh, well, we might have to tear up your Caragandus," and I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, if your curb stop doesn't turn." And I'm like, "Well, it's always turned before. I don't know why it wouldn't turn now." And he's like telling this other guy that he's got with him to go get the metal detector out of the car or out of the truck and see if they can find my curb stop, because they've been out there wandering around. I hollered at them when they first showed up. I was like, "Hey, you kids, get off the grass." And they just didn't hear me. And so I let them do their thing for a minute and then was visiting with my brother. And pretty soon I was like, "No, for real, like, what are they doing out there?" And then, like I said, went out and asked them, and they said they were going to have to tear my tree out. And I was like, "Don't do that." they couldn't find my curb stop, and I'm like, well, it's right there. And like, I've lived here long enough to know it's right there. And they were like, well, we would have never found it right there. And I'm like, and it's always turned every time they've tried to turn it. And they do, like, they come through and just test to make sure that they work, right? Every so often. Yeah, quartzite would be cool as well. Yeah, don't tempt me with a good time, gosh dang it. I gotta pay the bills back at home. I can't just gallivant off and about and yeah, start charging my oldest one rent. You're gonna have to help pay the bills so I can go to quartzite. Hey, you're gonna have to help your brother take care of the house while I'm gone. Anyways, oh, what was I freaking saying about the curb stop? Okay, so they leave, they don't come back. Hope you're having a great day, Josh. And I'm coming home yesterday, and I come around and I like follow this company vehicle. I'm like, uh-oh. They pull up right by my house with a skid steer or whatever that is, a little backhoe, a little whatever it is, skid steer or whatever. I'm like, oh no, oh no. Like, they must have finally came back and tried to turn my curb stop, and it must not have turned. And I'm like, oh no. So I go past them around the block, pull into my driveway, get out, come through the house, and stand on the back deck, and I'm watching them and I'm listening. And there's like, pretty soon there's not just the one truck with the skid steer on it, but like 2 more trucks and a truck with a trailer, and like they've got the whole block lined in these company vehicles. And I'm like, oh no. And they're walking around over in front of my neighbor's house, and I'm like, maybe it's the neighbor's curb stop and not mine. And pretty soon they're loading the skid steer off there, and they're taking it over the neighbor's house. So I stood over at the fence and watched them like for a long time yesterday. And they were digging and digging, and I kept watching all the buckets full of dirt coming out of there, like watching, hoping they'd dig up some cool rock or something, you know. Of course they didn't. It's just gumbo out here. Really, really nasty, bad gumbo. But I was watching, and then they're getting close down to the pipe. So they're like 6.5 foot down. They're pushing 7 feet, you know, below the frost line. They're way down there. They're really deep. And it's getting, you know, like kind of touch and go. And so things are getting a little tense. Excuse me. And pretty soon the boss guys, like, they're hollering at each other. And they're not like really yelling at each other, but like the kid is like, why don't you let me get down in the hole with my shovel and I'll dig? And he's like, I'm afraid to dig anymore with the backhoe. I'm afraid I'm getting close. And he's like, I know, that's why I said you should let me get in the hole with my shovel and dig. And he's like, oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So they're yelling at each other a little bit. And it is a little bit like, you know, sailor cussy, you know, like they're not cussing at each other. They cuss a lot. Like, and so as he's getting out of the truck, it's kind of a little bit of a 3-ring circus, as they're misunderstanding each other, and then they finally are understanding each other, and they're kind of making me chuckle a little bit. And so finally I say out loud to him as I'm leaned on my fence watching him, I say, I didn't even buy a ticket to this show. I feel like I should have bought a ticket to this show. And he's like, oh my God, this is a show, all right. Oh. So it's been fun to give the guys a little crap out there as they're digging. They dug up a Tonka truck tire and an old Pepsi can. And I told him I had him beat. I found 2 screwdrivers in one day. Oh, and some cadmium glass. We got to look at that cadmium glass. So, okay, I apologize. It's taken me just a second to tighten all this stuff up and be on my A game here. I do apologize. Okay, these are some projects that Bison and I are working on. And this is the rock that Jeff brought to Idaho. Yes, not cussing at each other, just cussing as like a part of the job, you know, like absolute qualification in order to do this job, right? And I was asking the kid, because he was down in the hole with the shovel, like, how's it going in the hole? And he's like, you know, just doing hole things. So it was super entertaining. They were tons of fun. I'm glad they weren't digging up my yard. Okay, this is Kentucky agate is what Jeff calls this. And it is something he finds there in Kentucky. Yeah, how is Josh doing better? I'm glad to hear that, Josh. Awesome, Rufo. Anyway, I kept reassuring these guys that there's nothing for certain on this end of town, except the only thing that is for certain is that it's probably janky. So at first I was watching them, I was like, I don't think they're real sure where this line they're digging for is. And turns out that was very true. They knew it, they knew where the curb stop that had broken off was, you know, or didn't work. They knew where the top of it was, but they didn't honestly know where after it went into the ground where everything went. So they were being quite delicate about getting down in there. So anyway, if Jeff tried to give you some of this and you didn't take any, shame on you, and look what you missed out on. Neener, neener, neener. I love all the little eyes and stuff that's in this. It is beautiful, isn't it? And the way the white washes up in here, sprays up into it. This is just one piece. I've got a few pieces of this we get to look at. I love the different greens in this, from the dark green to this like pale mint green. Oh, from the like blue blurple agate to the pink agate to the white. Oh my God, it has everything. And eyes. There are little circles and little eyes all over this material. Everywhere you look. Every piece has some kind of unique little spots and eyes and things. Of course, Jeff knows that I'm a sucker for anything with eyes in it, and he had sent me some of this much smaller pieces when I only had just my smaller saw. And so I knew that I was in love with some of the little eyes that are in this, and he also knew. I've cut and polished some of this. Look at that one. And so when he brought a bucket of this to Idaho and was trying to give it away, like, I took the biggest piece that I thought that I could fit through my saw. No, I haven't. Does it do UV things? Look, I organized my flashlights, so I know right where to go to find my flashlight. I am not a drinker, and I have this Chris Monk's Rocks on the Ground koozie. And so I put it on a mason jar, and now I'm using it as, you know, my UV and flashlight and toothbrush scrubber container thing, since I really don't drink beer or really a lot of pop or anything. I drink a lot of Red Bull, but that koozie does not fit a Red Bull can. Oh, yeah, baby. Stupid fun. What? That's cool. Not to mention, this is one hell of a thick slab, and it still definitely lets the light through. I mean, that's a chunker. I wanted there to be some meat on the bone in case you wanted to, you know, work this or do something with it. Tumble it, whatever. Look at the green and it's so cool, isn't it? So, neener, if Jeff tried to give you some of this and you didn't take any, look what you missed out on. Look at all the little eyes up in here. Stop it. Oh. got one more little piece here we can look at. I left half a bucket of it there with Julie and Brian. Oh, Julie and Brian. And I said that too. I was like, you know who has a bigger saw than me? Kim. You know who has a bigger saw than me? Brian and Julie. Like, oh, thank goodness. Yeah, like I say, there were a few pieces there, and Jeff was like, go hit him with a sledgehammer. And I'm like, oh, I know, but like there's people here who have saws big enough for this stuff, you know? And I took what I could fit in my saw. And then another little piece just for funsies. And was like, you know, like I have thousands of rocks I need to cut. But yeah, this one, oh, look at it. It's just so freaking pretty. Look at that one there. And that, I mean, just stop it now. Does it help if I put some more light on it? Well, it definitely gets all reflective and stuff. Oh, come on. That is such pretty stuff. What? Jeff, no way. If you do decide to work this, you should know that the green, if you can see, I can kind of like scratch the green away with my thumb. The green can undercut just a little bit compared to the rest of the stone. So don't plan on the green being the edge of your cab. Put it in the middle, cab it, you know, whatever, but if you were planning on the green being the edge of your cabochon, you might think twice about that. When there's pockets of the green and stuff, it's fine. But just know that it is softer, and that if you try to tumble it or something, it is likely going to undercut on the green. So just know that. I mean, you'll figure it out pretty darn quick when you're working on it. Like in here, this is solid green. You know, that's not going anywhere with your fingernail. But some of that stuff on the edge is quite chalky. And so just be ready for that it could be softer. It's not right there. Like I say, I cannot scratch it there. But you can run into that with this material, that some of it will undercut while the rest of it's very hard. So just a heads up. But other than that, I mean, like I say, if you didn't take some of this and he tried to give you some, crap. Shame on you. You missed out. It's gorgeous stuff. So I have an end and 2 slices here right now. And this rock is in the saw. And I've been working on it. Let's see. And it's all lined up and ready to go. Let's see. Look at all the eyes in it. We're not even zoomed in. Well, we are a little, but look at it right in there. That's crazy. There's still such a big chunk of this rock to go. Such a big chunk. So just zooming right along. But that, Jeff, is what I snuck extra in your box. I mean, there's other extra stuff in your box too, but I know you've got a saw and you can cut stuff, but I know you don't have a saw quite that big, and that it's nice to have, you got the slab that's after this, but before the one on the saw right now. So That fly wants to die. So the slab after this is in your package. The mate to this one. I think it has that light minty green on it. So I think it slabs up with this side. So, yeah, I thought, it's always nice to have a bigger slab of your stuff. So I wanted to get you a piece of that for your doing with whatever you'd like. Yeah, yeah. You don't know what you're gonna get. Like some of it has an extreme amount of eyes in it, and other is more like a blurple agate, just kind of a homogeneous kind of blue pink, everything's smooshed together. So yeah, I really, really, really like that stuff. It's a lot of fun. It really is really pretty stuff. Especially if you want to just like zoom in and have a close look at stuff, that take that time, get lost in that little world sort of, winter has you. So you're armed up to the microscope, So yeah, I don't want to blow the surprise or anything, but there's a couple pieces that I cut of that in your package for you. Some bigger pieces. Because again, like I say, it's nice to have the stuff that you can work, but yeah, if you want to chop it up and make cabochons out of it, you are welcome to do that. If you want to leave it as one big piece, it's up to you. You want to give it away, I don't care. So, but yeah, I thought maybe you'd like to see what a bigger slab looks like, get to mosey around it a little with your own two eyes. Check out the eyes and the agate and the... The sun has set. Oh, James, hi. Let me fill my cup up and stop and think if there's more stuff we need to look at and talk about. I feel like I'm forgetting something there big time. What is it? I probably am sitting here wasting all our time trying to think about, I actually kind of do have a little bit of a story. I'll tell when I come back. Kind of a story. All right, so let me grab a couple more rocks really quickly. Okay. I think yeah, let's just yeah, that's more than enough representation, I think. Okay. So, one of the learning about meteorites is extremely rewarding. Some of the people who I have met along the way are some of the most fantastic people you could ever meet in all of your life. Fascinating, quirky, odd mix of people that I have met along the way. And like I say, it's been super, super rewarding. And the getting to learn about it, and the fact that it's an ever changing and ever growing, part of science. And it's just like everything about it I love, 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 except the wackos. There is a certain that even if you put your blinders on, it finds you sometimes. Like, even if you're trying real hard to avoid it. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so I am, every once in a while, I'll see somebody locally trying to sell meteor wrongs. And it maddens me. It maddens me anywhere it's done. Like, period, end of discussion. It drives me insane. But when somebody's like, Montana meteorite for sale, $1,000, it irritates me for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, it's not helping educate anybody when they look at your rock and think that it's a meteorite, and then they look at their rock and they think that they have a meteorite, and the rock that they looked at, you misidentified, boldly misidentified. Hi, Dad Rocks, Phil. It also, it ticks me off because somebody might actually purchase that rock and then, you know, be like super excited about it because it's a meteorite, and then they find out, maybe in a very embarrassing way, that it's not, you know. And so it sucks for everyone. And then third and foremost, a furthest most reason that it pisses me off is because I've dedicated like 10 years of my life to finding a Montana meteorite in particular, and here you are, you know, it just, oh man, it irks me. So I try to not let my personal feelings get in the way of things, though, right? Like, I try to use any time that somebody has a wrong, even if they're doing atrocious things with it, like trying to sell it for $1,000, I try to approach it as an opportunity to learn, right? Sometimes I ignore it real hard and act like I didn't even see it. And then other times I do try to do a little bit of outreach with these people. I try to help them to come to the realization that they have got a meteor wrong, and maybe they'll decide to take their own listing down. So, man, the neighbors are having a hard time with their dog. I wonder if it's because that other dog is running around right now that's causing their dogs to spaz out like that. Hang on just a second. I don't know. I don't know why they're all over. Not jealous at the moment. What's at 4 p.m. tonight? I saw some local franchise shirtless and a stupid meteorite on Facebook. I reported him, but I'm sure that did nothing, says Rufo. Right. And so, okay. When I reach out to these people and try to let them know that I'm fairly confident that their rock is not a meteorite, it usually goes pretty much one way. F you. F you is their immediate response, right? The gal that I want to talk about today listed her rock for sale about 6 months ago, and that's how it ended, was F you. Oh, I bet you've been to outer space. That's how you know so much, right? What are you, a rock expert? You should come hold my rock in your hand, and then you'd know for sure it's legit. So basically I should do a free rock ID for her, and drive my happy ass down there to do it for her, right? And then when I said no thank you, that I really didn't need to see any more of her rock to know that it really wasn't a meteorite, she's like, that's because you don't know what you're talking about. So, okay. Again, whether it goes that way or any other way, I try to really use it as a learning example. Maybe she didn't learn anything, but hopefully I did. That approach that I took was for some reason not successful, right? Probably because I'm pissed off about it. Probably because my emotions are in the way and I'm probably not communicating in the best way, right? So, she listed her rocks again recently, and they look very much like this. She has put a window into one of her rocks, and it shines like a chrome bumper, she says. Look how shiny it is, she says. It looks very much like this one. And, I mean, a magnet is very strongly attracted. So why is this not a meteorite? Like, and look, it's like flight sculpted. Look, there's slight little, like, fusion lines. If you look real close, there's some, you know, lines that indicate that this went oriented through space, and it's burnt, and it's, you know, come on. How does it not look like a meteorite? Was one of her first responses to me this time when I approached her. I tried to be very nice. I was like, oh, well, she sent me a quick video, and I was like, oh, it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. But I'd like to share your video with a few of my friends and see get a second or third opinion, because it actually looks less like a meteorite in the video than it did in the pictures. And she replied with, well, how does it not look like a meteorite? I mean, obviously, look at it. Passes the magnet test and is shiny inside like metal. So, like I say, 6 months ago when I talked to this gal, it ended in a big ol' F you. A big ol' you been to outer space, I'm sure. So that's why, you know, what are you, a rock expert? Ha ha ha. This time, I tried real hard, took a deep breath, and tried real hard to just, like, make a connection with her. Even if it meant, however that needed to happen, right? And so when she said, she brings up all these things that she sees, the flow lines, the magnet, the dark crust, the shiny surface. I tactfully as I could said, first of all, the overall shape, it's very boxy, it's very square. There's some pretty sharp lines and edges on it that, flat edges. And the inside is the same color as the outside. I was like, it is shiny. I do see what you're saying, but it doesn't quite shine like a chrome bumper. So just a couple things that kind of, didn't look like meteorite to me. Too boxy, too square. Not quite shiny, but not quite the right kind of shiny. And the inside's the same color as the outside. So of course you guys know now this is magnetite. It's holding a paper clip. So it's not just magnetically attracted, but is actually magnetic. So that's why we don't say when a magnet sticks to a rock like this, we don't say, oh, it's magnetic, because it's actually not magnetic. This does not hold a paper clip, therefore is not magnetic. This is magnetic. It holds a paper clip, aka magnetite. This is magnetically attracted. So we try to use that word right. I don't always, but I do try to use that word right. I sent her a quick 60-second, 30-second clip on Facebook that said, trust me. And I showed her some of my collection, and I showed her some of my paperwork and things that I told her, look, I've desperately been trying to find Montana's next meteorite for over a decade. And she's like, it's all right, take your time in looking at them. We're in no hurry to sell, she says. And I'm like, man, seriously, if I thought for half a second that you had a meteorite, I'd buy it in half a heartbeat, help you get it classified and bring it to, seriously, nobody wants there to be another Montana meteorite more than I do. And that kind of seemed to resonate with her. And so I sent her a couple more quick little videos that said, I see your flow lines, and I think that they're a little bit chunky. I had to tell her they look a little different on this. They look a little more slaggy. I hate to say this. I hate to bring the slag word out, because it's so frustrating when you're a brand new meteorite hunter and everyone's like, it's slag, it's slag, it's slag. And you're like, how do you know it's slag? Give me a little more than it's slag. So, like I say, it did seem to resonate with her that, okay, look, I'm not trying to poo-poo you or your rock. I'm just saying that I have my doubts that that's Montana's next meteorite. So I wanted to show you guys and her, I did in some videos talk to her about this is probably some kind of native iron, maybe some magnetite or something in there, maybe even a hematite. But this is not the kind of metal that we hope to see if this is an iron meteorite. And you guys know, we want it to shine like the chrome on your bumper. Like this is kind of a gray, black, silvery. It's very shiny. Don't get me wrong. Kind of like metal, but it's kind of dark. Man, I found a lot of slag, even where I thought it seemed impossible. And then you remember that the old timers built rails and refined stuff all over the place in remote areas too. Yeah. And you need to realize too that slag can be really gross. And that if you're going to polish a window in your slag or things that you don't know, man, please don't be breathing that. So anyway, I want you guys to see it too. The difference in the metal that's in meteorites versus you see how it shines like the chrome on your bumper. I mean, you hope your chrome looks like that anyway, not quite like this. If it looks like this, it's been sitting in the field maybe a bit too long, and that ain't chrome. That's not quite chromy. So I left her with that to ponder with for just a minute, and I'm just showing you guys some examples of how shiny meteorite metal is. I mean, dang, you want to see that metal shine. This is a 1AB iron, I think, isn't it? Mosley is a 1AB. Yeah, 1AB iron. You want it to shine like chrome, baby. So she says, but it is shiny like chrome. And okay, right? Okay. So my next suggestion to her was, then let's try to etch it. That would be your next at-home test. Etch it. If it etches and you see a Widmanstätten pattern, shoe fly, then we could maybe be on to something, right? So I showed a couple of examples. Both of these meteorites, this Admire that Bear got for me for my birthday and this spring water that comes from Canada, both of these are unetched on this side, and so you can see the metal's mostly homogeneous. You can see a little bit of differentiation in there, but for most part, it looks pretty homogeneous. Iron, nickel, taenite, camosite, whatever the mixture is. Mostly iron, nickel, but with all those other little side stuffs. And it doesn't matter if it's a palisite, an iron, or even a stony. They all have iron, nickel with this taenite and camosite in just maybe different ratios, right? So when you etch them, that etch pattern is brought out. It separates all the nickel and the iron, then they take an etch different than the taenite and the camosite and all of that stuff, right? So, and then obviously my iron has been etched on both sides, and the Widmanstätten pattern is that, where the heck do you live? Up here. The Widmanstätten pattern is that super fine lattice. Sometimes it's really coarse, where all those bars line up and meet and crisscross. And how do you etch them? You put acid on them, Cynthia. I've heard anything. Hey there. How's it going, Jesse? I've heard anything from a mild acid like coffee can etch meteorites up to, you want to do something a little more strong. I think they use a lot of like ferrochloride or something like that to do meteorites. I've never etched one, so I have tried on my meteor wrongs. So, and there's a heart in my mossy. So that was her next plan. She actually thanked me for some of the advice that I'd given her about, testing her rock further at home. And it got her thinking. She actually admitted that she'd never heard the word Widmanstätten pattern before. And then when I, broke out broke out some of my meteorites and showed her an example of what is a Widmanstätten pattern, and she understood, that the acid was going to etch the metal if it was in fact metal. So, maybe that'll help her to do her own, evaluations and identifications. Maybe my thing for everybody when they do this, when they list their rocks for sale on Facebook Marketplace or wherever they're doing that, and they're labeling them as iron meteorite and palisite meteorite. They think they have 2 iron meteorites and 1 palisite meteorite. Anyway, if you're gonna do that, and like she's like, we're for sure they're meteorites. Well, I'm pretty for sure they're not. And instead of us arguing about that, let's do a little bit of like review here, and like I love that I actually got to talking to this gal, and I love it. They're actually out meteorite hunting, bringing home their pieces, filing a window. Guess what? I started right here too. I started in her shoes too, in the very same spot that they are in right now, picking these rocks up, bringing them home, grinding a window into them, and looking at the result inside the ground window, comparing it to things that I'm seeing online, that kind of thing. Until finally I broke down and bought some meteorites and start comparing my rocks to actual meteorites in hand. That was really helpful. But guess what? We all start here. We all start finding, you have to find probably 999 meteor wrongs before you find a meteorite. Unfortunately, it's really, really hard. So, yeah, I love that they're actually out doing that. They're out with a magnet stick, finding unusual rocks, grinding a window in them, looking at them, comparing them, trying to learn, and she, I think, truly is trying to learn. She looked up Widmanstätten pattern and asked follow-up questions about it, So, I want it to be helpful for maybe even not both of us, but who knows, maybe both of us in the future, at least her and her, it's not helpful for me to get on there and be like, your meteorites are fake, take your listing down. Oh, you make me mad. That's not helpful. What is helpful is to say, I would love for there to be a new Montana meteorite. I want it more than anybody else in the whole wide world. Trust me, I do. And you're so close, you're on the right track, but let's put this rock and the other 2 rocks aside, knowing now that they're most likely not meteorites. And let's go look for the next one or a new one, who knows? Maybe they will find the next Montana meteorite and not even know it if somebody doesn't help them get on the right track, right? So one of the next things that she had said to me too was that she showed me another rock. Let's just pretend this is the rock she's showing me on her video. And she's like, look, there's little sparkly things in it. And we wonder if that's carbonado diamonds. You guys are getting a little education here too, just through storytelling. Seeing sparkly things on the outside of your rock is one of the things that I say you can look for to decide if you have a meteor wrong. The outside of meteorites are really, 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 really not usually sparkly in any way, shape, or form. Glossy, maybe just a little bit. If they've got a frothy, bubbly, glossy fusion crust, they can maybe look a little bit glassy or at the right angle. Hey, Betty, look a little bit maybe sparkly, but no, you should not see big sparkles, flat crystal faces, anything sparkly in your rock. That's a good indication that it's an earth rock. So anyway, she shows it to me, flips it around, and then says something about it. And then so I wanted to reply to her in particular and say, hey, we got to remember, yeah, there are diamonds in meteorites. There's actually even opals in meteorites, which is amazing because opals are hydro formed. They take water to be formed. So there is some water in space. But let me tell you what, the opals and the diamonds that are in meteorites are micro, so micro, in fact, that it takes an electron microscope to see them. Not just not just this, not an at-home microscope, an electron microscope. So the whole like hype about the carbonado diamonds, this fly, oh my God. Seriously, they make me feel like I have Tourette's. Like I just constantly am like, nee, 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 and it's like back again. The whole like carbonado diamond thing is a hype, man. It's a hype. It's an internet hype. I hate to say that because it doesn't sound nice, but it is. You're not going to find diamonds in your meteorites. I wish that they would stop posting rocks all over the internet that says carbonado diamond. Like the whole thing is a diamond. This whole thing, and it's a big black stone carbonado diamond. Or in the case of what this gal was trying to do, you know, look, there's diamonds in my meteorite. You see them? I know these are just rocks, right? We're pretending. So, but yeah, that's kind of a hypey thing. You don't see the carbonado diamonds in your meteorites. They're nanos. So hopefully I didn't completely take all the wind out of her sail. I do love that they are out rock hounding and meteorite hunting. I'm not trying to poo-poo on them or their rock. Like I say, I spent plenty of time walking around all day with my meteor rung in my pocket and wondering, why is this a meteorite? Is it a meteorite? It drove me nuts. That's cool, Bear. I haven't heard about that. I want to know about that, though. That's interesting. Stupid fly. So, yeah, that's what Bear was just saying, Chubby Hubby. The gold-filled meteorites. Oh my gosh. There was there was a gal on Al Gold's channel, and she was pretty sure that she had found meteorites, lots of gold in them. And I was like, okay, if you've got visible gold in your meteorite, you can pretty much assure yourself it's a meteor wrong, like for sure. Like if you're seeing it, I don't even have to look at a picture of it. That's another thing too, is like, again, 99.9% of the time, it's probably not a meteorite. Like I hate to sound so pessimistic, but that's the real odds. It's like going out in your driveway and finding a diamond. 99.9% odds that it's a piece of quartz or something that looks like a diamond, right? Maybe even if it looks like. So, you know, I hate to sound like such a jerk and a pessimist. I really do. But again, I've got a bucket of freaking meteorons sitting right here. A bunch of stuff that sticks to a magnet, stuff that was definitely worth bringing home and learning more about. But let's put it aside and keep looking for an actual meteorite, because that ain't one. That ain't one. And that ain't one. And that ain't one. That first time I went around with this gal too, that was another thing she said. Well, you're just jealous because I found this cool meteorite and you didn't. And I'm like, yeah, I'm jealous. I'm really jealous because my Mossy's prettier than yours. Like, I'm not trying to come off like that. I'm really not. So again, I learn as much by approaching some of these people. I know better than to play in the toilet water. Sometimes I should just leave well enough alone and let them put their rock up. Nobody's going to buy that for $1,000, I would hope. You know, sometimes I just leave it alone, but sometimes I'm having a hell of a bad day and it makes me so mad I can't help but like lash out. And then there's other times when I'm like, okay, you have an IMCA number. You are part of the International Meteorite Collectors Association. Please represent them in a way that is respectful, polite, courteous. You know, don't, God damn fly. Don't jump out on the internet and be a troll just because you know better than somebody. Don't jump out and be rude and mean just because you know that rock is not a meteorite. Don't jump out and be like, it's not a meteorite. Take your list because you're pissed because it's rude and you don't want somebody to get ripped off. Like, put your emotions aside, Allison, and do your job as an IMCA member and educate this public if you can. Again, some people, like, How do you fight with somebody who believes that the rapture's happening on Thursday? Or how do you fight with somebody who thinks that the the dome is falling down on us, or that the earth is flat? You know, I mean, some of that stuff you really can't. You just, you know what? It's not hurting anybody really. But at the same degree, like I say, it's maddening when you try to get good information and half the rocks you look at have some kind of meteorite terminology attached to them, whether somebody's advertising them and thinking that they're meteorites, or somebody's calling them a carbonado diamond or whatever. A lot of these are earth rocks that somebody has misidentified. And so, you know, I think it's beyond where you could ever get a, you know, and I'm sure it's like that everywhere. You know, people who collect antique watches probably can spy a fake a mile away. And how do you convince that somebody that their family heirloom isn't worth $1 million? You know, like, I'm sorry. I know it's so, but like I say, I do try to represent the IMCA in a good way, to represent myself in a good way, my YouTube channel, my, you know, I do want to be helpful. You know what? I really do. And I'm glad that I'm glad that she took her listing down 6 months ago and put it back up just last week or whatever it was. Because obviously I didn't approach her in a good way the first time. And not that, you know, again, not that that's my job, but let me learn how to be better at helping to do outreach and education without coming off like I'm an asshole or like I'm just, you know, a lot of that was her too, obviously, but, yeah, let me learn how to do that in a good way, if it's at all possible. And if I can try really hard to do a good job at that, maybe I can make a difference for somebody, you know? Like I say, I was actually delighted that once I started talking to her, she was like, look, we're just out, we're looking, these look different, you know, we don't know really, I guess, so much as we thought we did, you know, and thank you. So that actually turned out really cool so far. I mean, I might eat my words later and be like, now she won't leave me alone, or, you know, whatever. But so far, so good. Things are going much better than they did 6 months ago. And I think that I'm proud of that interaction now, where I wasn't maybe so much 6 months ago when I was taking it a little bit personally and was already pretty pissed off because I'd seen 9 other listings like hers already before I came across hers, you know. I already had 4 other people calling me names and, you know, so yes, no good deed goes unpunished. Yes, Brian. Oh God, I should probably get my helmet and maybe even go hide under my bed for the rest of the day. What did you do, Brian? Says Julie. It's true. So yeah, I got to go look in a 7-foot deep hole with the guys out on the boulevard yesterday. That was fun. And a little bit today. I ran out there this morning and told them that they were probably going to be done with what they were doing before I was done doing this. And I gave them a Prairie Rock sticker and told them, I make a little bit of my living playing in the dirt too. You ought to check it out. There's another video in the can coming up. I think Bear pooped on the prairie. He said it wasn't him, but I don't know. It sure looks like bear poop to me. So there's another video coming up that I don't want to give too much away, but there's that in that video. The cadmium glass. Before we go today, let's look at the cadmium glass one more time. Isn't that the bee's knees? I honestly thought that this was a piece of like a plastic tail light. You know what I mean? Because it was covered in dirt, you know, it was like all I could kind of see was maybe just a little piece of it. And I was like, yeah, you know, I was like, I wonder if you could tumble that. I wonder if it, you know, could make some jewelry out of that or something. I did not realize it was glass until I got it home and cleaned it up. And it's pretty. Look at the way it throws light off all those little faceted faces. Why is the mule fired? Don't come into the shop. And then, let's see. Which one of these light switches do I want to switch? Probably a couple of them. And then I hit it with the UV and was like, what the crap? How come it's orange? So orange. What the actual crap, right? I was over here like, I do not understand. I was filming and showing you guys this while I was doing my editing and stuff, and I'm saying to you guys on the camera, like, I don't understand this. This is so amazing, beautiful. I didn't expect this. I thought this was a piece of tail light. You know, all of that. In the meantime, Lava Bison was sitting on the couch next to me, and he Googled it, like, why would this glass do this under the UV? And came up with cadmium glass. And he's right. He's right on. He's absolutely right. But I didn't know such a thing existed, honestly. I knew about uranium glass. And what's the purple one? It's got a little different rare earth element in it that makes it, but it glows green too. Manganese glass. But I've never heard of cadmium glass. Like, maybe I'd heard of it maybe once or twice in an antique store or something, right? But I didn't know. I didn't know it was doing this stuff. I didn't know it'd be doing that. I did not know cadmium glass was a thing. I know where I found it. I might have to go look again for some more of that, because that's pretty stuff there. And yeah, of all the, I found 2 screwdrivers in one day. Whatever will I do with my lucky self? Oh, I just don't even know. It's like 2 screwdrivers in one day. Wow. Yeah, no, I'm kidding, obviously. Yeah, of all of the stuff I found that day, and I found some fun stuff, some neat rocks and stuff, but of everything that we found that day, I am excited by a piece of glass. I'm just like, that's my favorite thing that I found all week, maybe even. Cadmium glass. And I learned something. I learned that it is the cadmium, the rare earth cadmium in there, in that, you know, obviously cadmium is actually really dangerous. You know, you just shouldn't handle it, blah, 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 blah. But when it's locked up, especially in antique glass, it's usually safe to handle, but you shouldn't eat or drink out of it, right? Also, if you are going to tumble and or cab any uranium or cadmium or any manganese glass or anything of the sort, PPE, baby. Do not breathe the dust that you are creating out of your machine. Do not do it. Don't get it in your lung. So sometimes I have 4 or 5 screwdrivers. I know, but do you find them in the field with your magnet when you're looking for meteorites, Wisconsin, or do you just like have 4 or 5? You know, I should really actually consider myself freaking lucky, because sometimes when you actually need a screwdriver, like, good luck finding one. I'm just going to hide it under my tongue, right? Don't do it. Don't do it. So, yeah, I learned some stuff. So did you guys, hopefully. Now you know. Cadmium glass is a thing, and it's beautiful under the UV. Comes in red, oranges, and yellows usually. They're trying to get that, like, bright red color with it. They didn't use it in as much, like, disposable stuff as they used uranium glass in. So they tried to make more fancy things out of it. Perfume bottles, you know, fancy drinkware, you know, things that were a little less disposable than the uranium glass was. And so, yes, it is more rare. They didn't make as much of it, and what they did make out of it didn't end up in the dumps quite as frequently as some of the other glass did. So, yeah, I'm jacked up about it. I'm super stoked about it. I kind of want to go back, maybe take a little rake with me or something and see if I can find some more, because it's stunning and it is going to make beautiful jewelry. This is on point. Mine's not. Yeah. I did hear something about like sometimes they would use it on like ships as part of the ship's lights, but I'm certain that's not where that came from. The screwdrivers migrate to the house and never return to the shop. Mine never returned to the tool closet either. They return to the room where the tool closet is, but they never quite get back in the closet. It's amazing. And then they just they start having little screwdriver parties and cluttering up the, available surfaces to set things on until I can't take it anymore. And I'm like, why is every screwdriver we own sitting on this bench when it should be in the tool closet, in the screwdriver bag? Like I have a bag for screwdrivers, just for screwdrivers. I picked up in my organizing chaos the other day, I grabbed literally 3 of them and was like, why are these not in this? And I went to go put them in the screwdriver case, and you can't even get to the damn case because everything else is just shoved in there. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I swear it wasn't that long ago I organized that entire tool closet, and it looks like a bomb went off in there. In the kitchen junk drawer somehow, huh? Yeah. Well, I don't know. Somebody lost 2 screwdrivers way out in the field and a pair of tiny scissors and a comb, a candle holder. I think that's everything we found and showed that day anyway. So, yeah, lots going on. Not as much as usual. I didn't have quite as much stuff to show about new stuff going on. We did cut Jeff's rock. I did do hopefully some productive outreach to some meteorite people who maybe want to learn some more. Hopefully can get them moving in the right direction at least a little bit. It is a lot to swallow, and I don't ever want to shove the whole elephant at somebody and be like, here, get to chewing, because that's not fun. But so, hopefully she'll ask follow-up questions and I can give her the information as she's ready for it, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I'm glad that it went a lot better this time, and like I say, hopefully I've learned some tactics about how to approach people in situations like that or how to respond. Anybody who joins our meteorite meetings, you can hear all of us have had a fair share of both of the extremes. It went extremely well, and that person, you developed a little bit of a friendship with that person even, and now you're buddies. Topher, actually, the first time he met Steven, the finder of Barnstable, Steven got in touch with him and was like, hey man, I hear you're going to the gem show. You want to split a hotel with me? You want to split the cost with me? And Topher went and told Sue, like, I'm going to share a hotel room with a guy who thinks he found a meteorite. And Sue was like, you're going to what? Wait, what? And he's like, I'm going to share a hotel room with a guy who thinks he found a meteorite. And Sue was like, okay. Turns out he did find a meteorite. It is legit, and they developed a hell of a good relationship over the past, 10 years or whatever it's been. So, you just never know. You really just never know. Yeah, you really just don't know. And like I say, I can see myself in that. I'm not so far past the first step that I don't remember struggling with a rock that looked just like that. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes no matter how you approach it, they're gonna get defensive about it. But, hopefully I can learn how to deal with some of those people. And then, like I say, if you ever attend the meeting, you'll hear all of us joke about it in one way or another. Like, that's why when I see somebody coming with a rock, I run the other way. Like, I do not want that confrontation in my world. Like, I don't want to be the heartbreaker who has to tell you. Like, and again, it's like 99.9% of the time, like, we really do want that one meteorite. We really do want to see it. But boy, you probably should really realize before you bring said rock. It kind of reminds me of like the opal challenge when everybody's standing there going, I know my rock ain't gonna win, but this is the best I got, right? You should probably come into meteorite hunting just the same way. Like, I know this is probably not a meteorite, but have a look just in case. Like, that's the cold hard truth of it is like, out of 25 or 40 rocks that were found there can only be one. There can only be one opal winner. It's most likely you're going to find 999 wrongs before you find a right or more, right? Like you're going to look for 10 years before you find one. More than likely. Not to say that you're not going to be out hunting for elk one day and sit right down next to a meteorite and go, dang, that looks odd. Because that does happen, but it's so rare. So, yeah, like I say, hopefully they learned a little something about it. Me too, me too. Hopefully I learned how to better deal with the people side of some of that. So, yeah, anyway, I probably talked way too long about all of that stuff for everybody, but sometimes you just gotta. Sometimes you just gotta. Ask Bear if he pooped on the prairie. Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys watch the Cerro Gordo Ghost Town guy? He just had a big metal detector gathering up there. And it made me think, we should do a creators thing at Cerro Gordo. That'd be fun. I don't know if he's truly as nice a guy as he looks like on TV, but it's only one way to find out. I bet he is. Oh, they can be expensive. Yes, they can. And there's a little bit of a learning curve too. You should probably just plan on spending the first at least week or at least couple of days just getting used to what kind of sounds it's going to make and what all the buttons and the options will allow you to do with it. The Bounty Hunter. I've heard good things about the Bounty Hunter. I don't use the Bounty Hunter. I use Garrett AT Gold, all-terrain gold metal detector. Mine's pretty fancy, schmancy pantsy. You want to see? Oh, it's so fancy schmancy pantsy. Right? Right? That's a pretty beautiful piece of equipment, isn't it? Pretty. Awful nice. Look, I've used it some too. It's all scuffed up. That's a sign of a good metal detector. When the bottom of it looks like it's been through hell and back. Yeah, I like it. It's fairly ergonomically correct. It's pretty light. I mean, I can kind of probably hold it up with my pinky. Yep, pretty much. So, yeah, and it does all kinds of fun things. But there's a bit of a learning curve to figure out, do you want all metal? Do you want metal discrimination? Do you want metal discrimination 1, metal discrimination 2? How do you ground balance that son of a gun? All of that. You have an old Garrett? Awesome. Yeah, I like it. I do. And yeah, one of the first things I found with it was a hot rock. I thought, no effing way. I thought, no way, it's got to be a meteorite. It's got to be a meteorite. Like I say, I remember those first steps. I remember just wishing I had that information and not knowing how to get it, wanting and knowing that, like, you know, how do they take one look at your rock and be like, no, it's not a meteorite. Yeah, it looks like slag. How? I mean, I just remember that, you know, brain block feeling of like, it's, you know, so impossible. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. Like I was talking with Steven the other day, and like I said about my mom, like my mom has no desire whatsoever to know about meteorites. However, she does. This is happening right now. And she can't tell you why she knows it is or isn't a meteorite, but she's pretty good at it.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. You guys caught me in the middle of a YouTube live.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah.
For the LDS missionary.
I know. Anyway, I'll have to let you guys go. I'm in the middle of this right now.
No, you're good.
Have a good afternoon, fellas. Thank you. Thank you all for saving my ass. Sorry. I'm sorry if you're a Mormon. I just didn't want to talk about that right now. Hello. Say hi to YouTube. Oh. No one lives in that house. That is completely abandoned. Walk on, boys. There you go. Yes, missionaries on the prairie. You got it. Just carry your phone around and be live all the time. I saw him walk past the window. I knew immediately. I was like, oh no, that guy's wearing a name tag and a suit. You're not from around here, are you? I am too, Brian, for sure. I'm late, dang it. Well, you're just in time. I'm crushing hopes and dreams left and right, you guys. I gotta tell this gal she doesn't have a meteorite. I gotta tell the missionaries I don't have time to visit. Gosh, such an a-hole. Just killing it today. I'm on a roll. They look like nice guys. I just a little busy at the moment. Oh, I just don't think that they're probably prepared to talk to the lot of us. It is Roctober. I mean, maybe they're out celebrating just like we are. There's like, you know, we need to rock and roll. It is the first day of Roctober. Let's rock and roll, they said. Making sure everybody's okay since, you know, we didn't get raptured. Oh, I should stop it. I should stop it. Give your phone to Brian and let them talk to him. Oh, goodness gracious. You guys, we shouldn't laugh about it. I'm sure they're nice boys. And really, I bet they were actually really nice kids. But, yeah. I just, like, always wonder, like, how, like, they've got to think, like, literally 2 steps away from a meteorite case. Like, I'm science-minded, obviously. Like, how, like, you want to have a conversation about this? Like, how in your Book of Mormon do you explain my meteorites, please? So I'm just saying. It could get interesting. Maybe I should invite him back over. We could pass around a collection plate and preach all night. Like, here we go. I know they did, Rufo. I know. I know. I mean, I honestly didn't even know it was happening until after it happened. I was like, dang it, did I miss another rapture? Like, damn it. I always sleep through the earthquakes. Like, Montana only will feel an earthquake like once every 8 years, and you wake up in the morning and everyone's like, did you feel it? Did you feel it? Did you feel it? And you're like, no, I slept through it again. damn it. Joseph and I were going to get t-shirts made that said I slept through the big one of 2023. Yep, I missed that whole thing until after it was done. I was like, dude, I was living under a rock because I missed it all. Just under my rock, minding my own business. Probably was making jewelry or checking things out in my UV light, but in the meantime, the world was going crazy and I missed the whole thing. Oh. Yeah, they do, don't they? Oh, the Hutterites do that here, Bear. And they'll do it. You don't even have to cook for them. You just buy them a case of good old BEER. And you got a deal. They'll bring a whole bunch of young, beautiful, youthful, manly bodies to your aid. A whole, like, Suburban full of them. A whole, like, short bus. A whole short school bus full of them will roll up at your place. They'll, like, literally pick your house up and carry it over 10 feet and put it on a new foundation for you. It's amazing. It's amazing. And they'll do it for beer. Maybe a $20 bill. Oh, you had another one, Ryan? Yeah, I think that's probably what that was. Isn't that what that was? Did I call them Mormons? I might have called them Mormons, but I don't think they were. I think they were the JWs. I don't know. Is it all the same? I don't even know. Mm-hmm. Exactly, Bear. Exactly. Brian, I answered in my house coat one time after I'd had the tummy bug. And I'd literally been like, you know, hugging the porcelain throne for 2 days. And I opened the door and I couldn't even stand. I was so weak. I'm like, I gotta go. As I'm like melting at the door, I'm like, okay, bye. And they wanted to shake my hand. And I was like, no, man, no. I don't know if it's food poisoning or the flu, but yeah, I'm just gonna, how about a elbow bump or something and then bye-bye. Like, my house coat didn't determine. I got one hell of an ugly house coat. Look at this thing. This was my great-grandma's. I would never wear a freaking pink house coat, but my great-grandma wore it, and it's like the one thing that I have that, you know, my great-grandma's. Like, you know, this thing is morbid. If somebody answered the door in this and looked like they'd been throwing up for 3 days, would you want to shake their hand and hang out? I wouldn't. I'd have been like, no, we'll catch you on the way back next week. I'll convert. Yeah. God grant me the strength to stand in this doorway for 2 more minutes and listen, and I will convert. Comfy is all that matters. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, no, YouTube. Oh, no. Yeah, I was just like, no, dude, you do not want to shake my hand right now. I might have the plague. My kid came home not feeling very good the other day too. And my ex was getting ready to haul him over to Oregon. And he's laying on the floor. He's got a little nest in the hall outside the bathroom. And he's laying out there in between, you know, rounds. Poor guy. And he's like, Dad wants me to go to Oregon, and I don't want to go. So I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll message your dad. I'll let him know that you're not well. You know, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah. I think our kid might have the plague. I hope I don't catch it. Oh, thank goodness I didn't. But yeah, it doesn't come through our house very often anymore because the kids are older, you know. But yeah, when it does, you know it did. Jeff. And I'm not laughing, mocking, or mimicking, or, you know, anything to anybody who, you know, is spiritual or religious in any way. I'm a spiritual person. I feel very much like I'm surrounded by nature. I'm in my spiritual zone, you know, or, you know, whatever. So to each his own thing, you know. I make my offerings to the rock gods. That is, you know, more like this one, if you don't mind, please. So whatever, you know, superstition or belief or side thing, or, you know, whatever you've got, you know, I'm not laughing at you any more than I'm laughing at myself for my weird beliefs and ideas, you know. So, but yeah, I will laugh a little bit about, you know, how do you, you know, do you answer and say, you're just in time, come on in, you know, grab them by the name tag and drag them in. I mean, like, I was hoping you'd show up today. We got lots of yard work to do. Let's go. You're gonna help me cut rocks. Get in here. Just got this fired up. You guys want to sit around and have it? We can yell over the top of it, but yeah, you know, you do kind of got to joke a little bit. Like, I'm such a hermit. Like, anytime anybody knocks on my door, I'm like, oh, something happened today. I offered them a beer. Oh, God, come on, Ryan, bring it on. I'm following you here. Yeah, come on. Well, Brian, pretty much they're people like you and me. They put their pants on one leg at a time, as just like the rest of us. So they just don't have quite as much time for rocks as we do. As they walk off into the sunset with their religious propaganda underarm. So they are just in atheists, in any Christians, Mormons, Jehovah, it doesn't matter. There are good and there are bad. Like, it really, really doesn't. There are people who go to church who are not good people, and there are people who don't go to church who are good people, and vice versa. You know, obviously, right? So yeah, I've never let anybody's beliefs about that, you know, really truly define that person, unless they make that their mission, you know, unless, you know, hi, I'm so-and-so and I'm whatever, you know, like, you just like, well, then that case, you know, then that's, again, though, more on them than it is on me, right? So yeah, nothing wrong with that, Julie. I know a few people who have, and I know a few people who have married somebody and joined, you know, or whatever. So yeah, to whatever your path is there, I am definitely not discriminating, but yeah, I will throw a little shade and laugh and joke a little. Again, I hope you guys don't ever, you know, I like you when I do that, you know it. If I didn't laugh and joke about it just a little, then you'd know that. Wisconsin. Yep, Julie. Yep. Stop number 1 on their route. that's the thing is like, yes, you've introduced yourself. Now let me, decide if I want to follow through. You left your reading material with me. You don't need to knock on my door, again next week and next week and next week, They showed up at the perfect time today. I was like, I don't even have to think twice about this. Like, I'm busy. Sorry. Yeah. So they were showing up at Friday though, and I was like, oh shit. Quick! No one's home. Shh! Don't move. Oh. E.T. Space Rocks. I love that. Did it wake up your dog? Oh, yeah. So, oh, yeah. We all have different beliefs. Like, I lie somewhere between, with my body when I'm no longer here. I lie somewhere between, like, let the coyotes eat me and turn me into, like, coyote poop to grow more grass and to grow, to be eaten by whatever and then pooped out again, turn me into the life cycle. I lie somewhere between do that with my body and launch my ass to outer space. Like, it depends on whatever my family can afford. If they want to go ditch me for the coyotes or if they can afford to launch me to space, we'll see what happens. So, yeah, glad you did. Glad everybody did today. It is Roctober. It's Roctober 1st. Happy Roctober, everybody. Happy Roctober. Yeah, Brian, how's it going? Are you getting that little thing painted pink or what? You want to be sprinkled in 2 different places? We could probably sprinkle you around when you're done with your body. When you're done with her. Awesome. Heck yeah, Julie. I like that. I like that idea. Kyle is ready for us when we are done here. Okay, let's do that. I love that. I love that. Sounds like we're all zooming on over to Kyle's when we're done here. So we'll do that. I've got some meteorites. Let's sing the song with some meteorites today. Goojba. No, I didn't just sneeze. That's the name of that meteorite. Oh, I thought it had a name tag on it. It doesn't need a name tag. It's freaking Goojba. Does Kyle have cookies? Right? We'll all go knock on Kyle's door now. Let us in, Kyle. We just want to talk about rocks. And yeah, File is working on obsidian. Nah, definitely time for me to go. I'd be a little drunk on rocks right now. All right, yeah, so swinging over there, and then Julie, are you guys doing your thing on Wednesday? You said no more Wednesday because it's such a lineup and you're going to try for Sundays, blah, 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 blah. Rufo, maybe later. Okay, that's awesome. We'll see you guys around and stuff. Happy Roctober to everybody. We're getting her brought in right. No more Wednesdays. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's all right. We'll keep an eye out for you. Going. Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to sing a song so we can head over to Kyle's. He's ready, and it's, it's like right on the money. All right. Pretty rocks out on the prairie. Pretty rocks are everywhere. Pretty rocks for us to look at. Pretty rocks are everywhere. There's a spring water and a goojba and a mossly and a admire. And they all are very pretty. And they all are. I wish they were everywhere. All right, guys. In a world where you can choose to be anything, choose to be kind of a rock hound. Boop. Peace, hippies. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy Roctober!